Ray Brown's Talking Birds.
Made possible by the generous support of the Birdwatchers General Store, Orleans, Cape Cod. Birdwatchersgeneralstore.com. By Feathersnap, the smart bird feeder with a high-resolution camera and species identification software aimed to educate and spread joy to every level of avian enthusiast. Learn more at feathersnapcam.com.
And by Vortex Optics, with the VIP warranty, their unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. Learn more at vortexoptics.com.
Good morning, afternoon, or evening, and welcome to our show number 1003. Well, this is a great time of year to look at birds in ultra birdy southeast Arizona. And we'll have kind of a focus on that area today through our Tucson-based special guest, Martha Ritalik, about her marvelous new book called City Nature. We'll also present a featured feathered friend from the Southwest, and we'll kick it all off with a Southeast Arizona audio postcard.
Hey there, Ray. This is Gordon Lamb, down in Southeast Arizona, up in Miller Canyon by Beatty's Guest Ranch, where they've had about half a dozen hummingbird feeders for quite a number of years. And they're attracting, I think it's about 8 species right here now. You should be able to hear them in the background. You got the twitters of the black-chin and Anna's, sort of metallic sound of the broad-tailed hummingbird. There's also some broad-billed hummingbirds here. There's rivoles, and if you want fun, you can call them raviolis. They look like Goliaths compared to the other hummingbirds, twice the size. Got some black-chins here, and a few other species. Oh, violet-crowned. But it is hummingbird month here in Sierra Vista area of Arizona. So if you haven't been down here in August or September, this is the place to be for hummingbirds. Have a great day. And again, congratulations on 1,000 episodes plus.
Thank you so much, Gordon, and thanks for that beautiful array of hummers, including the raviolis. Well, if you're looking at some birds wherever you are, we'd like to hear about it in the form of an audio postcard. To make one, just record your description of whatever you're seeing on a smartphone or other digital device. Then send the file to ray@talkingbirds.com. That's ray@talkingbirds.com. And don't worry if there's spaces in it or anything like that, because we'll put it into our hotshot Talking Birds editing department and fix it right up. ray@talkingbirds.com is the address. One thing I think your humble host keeps forgetting about the last few weeks, it's our Talking Birds newsletter, the newest one published and sent to subscribers. And if you're not a subscriber, you can still read it at talkingbirds.com under the Read button. And if you'd like to subscribe when you get there, you can do that and receive future issues automatically. And yes, subscribing is free. Right there is our mystery bird. Not the contest quite yet. This is our little preview. We'll do the contest later, getting you ready for it here with the sound and some clues and then some beautiful prizes. Our mystery bird, which was our featured feathered friend on a recent show, is a small perching bird. It has a gray-brown back with reddish-brown streaks and a gray breast and belly. Its head has a rust-colored crown, a gray face, a rust-colored eyeline, and a thick black mustache stripe. It has a long rounded tail and brown wings without wing bars. Our bird can be found in that area we're focusing on today, southeast Arizona, but also all across the south-central U.S. and points west from Arkansas to California. It forages for insects and seeds by hopping slowly along the ground or in low bushes. That's the bird, and the beautiful prizes include this very special Brome Mega 600 feeder. With an extra large tube, it holds nearly 2.5 pounds of seed. It's also easy to clean and chew-proof. and comes with the brome seed ventilation system to keep the seed, that's right, the seed, cool and dry. Plus, from Fresh Cut Paper, makers of beautiful life-size pop-up floral bouquets that are wilt-proof and crafted to last a lifetime. We have a certificate for 5 beautiful bouquets, and yes, they have bird-themed bouquets among their selections. Prizes here on our Mystery Bird Contest, which we'll do officially a little bit later on in the show. We have a royal salute to another Talking Birds ambassador, and you may have heard us talk about trying to reach the goal of growing our ambassadors' family to 900 members. We didn't quite make it on our 1,000th show, but we have done so since. Thanks to folks like Eric Ortega from Kansas City, Missouri. Go Chiefs. Thank you, Eric, for helping us to get to that mark we were looking for. And thank you to Kristen Murray from right in our radio hometown here of Marshfield, Massachusetts. She was our 900th Talking Birds ambassador. Happy to say we've had more folks sign up since then. We'll be thanking them again, or we'll be thanking them soon here on the show. Kristen says her whole family listens wherever they are on Sunday mornings. That is so cool. And thank you, Kristen, for your kind comments and, of course, for becoming a Talking Birds ambassador. Very easy to do. Just go to talkingbirds.com and click on the Get Involved tab at the top of the homepage to join our ambassadors family and help us spread the word about birds and conservation. Still to come today, we'll talk with author and photographer Martha Rotalick about her beautiful and informative new book, City Nature, Tales of Ornery Plants, Opinionated Birds, Gardening Triumphs and Tragedies, and capturing it all through a lens. Also today, Mike O'Connor will strike a dynamic pose to dramatize his topic for Let's Ask Mike segment, almost live from the archive. And in just 30 seconds, we'll meet a beardless bird from down by the border as today's featured feathered friend. But first, this important message.
Hi, it's Debbie Bleacher from the Talking Birds crew. We bring you the show every week because we care about birds and the environment, and we know you do too. So we also want you to know that 8 million environmentalists skipped the 2020 presidential election. Our votes matter, and registering to vote is the important first step. You can register and check your registration at vote.org. That's vote.org.
Well, since today's guest is from the Southwest, we figured we'd feature a bird from there today. A modest little bird with a striking name, the northern beardless pteranulate. It's a small flycatcher with gray upper parts and lighter gray underparts, 2 pale wing bars, and a pale eye ring. Its small, dark bill has an orange base. Males and females are similar. The term beardless reflects the fact that, unlike most other flycatchers, this one doesn't have the bristles, often referred to as a beard, at the base of its bill. The northern beardless pteranulate's U.S. range is a very limited one. Its breeding area is pretty much restricted to parts of southeast Arizona. Its wintering range includes sections of Central America, most of Mexico, and the southernmost tip of Texas. This beardless pteranulate hawks for insects in midair in summer and tends to forage on twigs and leaves for its insect prey in winter. And it also consumes small berries. Like those of other flycatchers, the northern beardless pteranulate's vocalizations are innate rather than learned from adult birds. Here's a typical example of its simple whistle ending with a chirp song. One other note about names. A group of beardless pteranulates are collectively known as a shaving.
Now that's a decent sort of a shave.
It's Camptostoma imberbe, the northern beardless pteranulate. Today's Talking Birds featured feathered friend. Welcome again to our show, number 1003. Martha Rotalick is the author of a spectacular and useful new book. I'm doing something wrong here. I'm getting a signal from Jesse. But I'll keep saying what I'm saying here while we fix whatever is wrong here. Something is wrong, but I'm not sure what. Here's what it is. It's this. That button that was what's wrong. You can't see that, but we can. So we're all set with that. So I was trying to introduce Martha Ritalik in her wonderful book, City Nature. Tales of ornery plants, opinionated birds, gardening triumphs and tragedies, and capturing it all through a lens. She joins us now from Tucson, Arizona, to tell us a bit about it. Good morning, Martha.
Well, thank you for having me. It's just after sunrise in Tucson. The birds are out and about, but they're flying around the neighborhood. They're not here yet.
Not here yet.
Guess they don't want to be on the radio.
That's the way birds are, it seems. Well, your book, Martha, with its gorgeous photography, is just beautiful. But as you say in the preface, this is so much more than a nature-themed coffee table book. It is a big, spectacular book, and it is more than that. But how would you describe it?
It's a book about water harvesting. And in this part of the world, water harvesting is very important because we get infrequent rain, but when we do, it really rains. Like maybe later on today, we're supposed to get the remnants of Tropical Storm Ileana. She came ashore on the west coast of Mexico yesterday. So what water harvesting does when we get these torrential downpours is we want that rain to slow down, spread out, sink into the ground, replenish the water table, and nourish plants. And here's the part where it becomes important for birds. Birds in this part of the country like trees, especially southwestern desert trees, which can live solely off of rainwater. And in my yard, I have a mesquite, which is like the singles club for the neighborhood in the spring. And I also have 2 ironwood trees, which are extremely thorny trees. You don't want to be a tree hugger in this part of the world. But those thorns are like little Velcro hooks that birds use for building nests. And right now, as I like to say, out there in the front, the ironwood that's closest to the street, there is a nest that was originally built by cactus wrens, which is now used by a variety of mourning doves and white-winged doves. It's empty now, so as I like to say to the birds in the neighborhood, got a turnkey real estate opportunity for you.
Well, that's part of what your book is about and a whole lot more. And Martha, instructions, or not instructions, but introductions in books are not always especially compelling, but yours certainly is. It's really partly an autobiography and a fascinating one. And I wonder if you'd read that first little section about when you were very young and you spotted a beautiful red and black bird.
Okay, I'm going to take you way back to the late 1950s, early 1960s. And I say, oh, look, there's a scarlet tanager. Thus spoke Martha, who was just barely out of toddler stage. I was playing with friends in a neighbor's backyard. And it was one of those chilly, overcast days for which western Pennsylvania is famous. The gray skies really made that bird's blazing red body and jet black wings pop. It looked just like the scarlet tanager in my mother's birdwatching books. And that tanager was perched high on a tree, but my friends couldn't have cared less. They were laser focused on another tree thing, and that was the swing that the neighbor's dad had suspended from a lofty branch in a different tree. If you hopped on that swing and someone else gave you a big push, you could go way up high. So that was Martha and birding as a small child. I didn't stay into it. My mother did. She was the one who had the binoculars in the kitchen and the bird feeder right outside the kitchen. And over time, that became the Ritalik family soap opera, like, who's coming to the feeder today? Oh, look, it's the Cardinals. And then, here come the bullies, the Blue Jays. And later on, the squirrels would chase everybody off.
Well, you did lots of kid things there, Martha, but of course you went beyond that, certainly. And you make clear that even in the heart of the city, Whether it's your city in Tucson or my city in Boston, we're surrounded by nature and the power of nature in urban places. And your book covers three main themes: nature and the built environment, nature nourishes, and nature delights, where we see lots of birds. I wonder if you could give us a quick overview of those three themes, starting with that built environment part.
Nature and the built environment. When I moved into this place, it had no landscaping. There was crushed rock in the front yard and Bermuda grass in the backyard, which in this part of the world is an invasive species. Mm-hmm. So I hired a neighbor who was a disabled veteran who made money under the table, and he removed the Bermuda grass from the backyard, and over time, I and a variety of other people planted things in the front yard and the backyard, including those three trees that I mentioned earlier. And 20 years later, it's a thriving landscape. I don't spend money on irrigation that's supplied by the municipal water supply. Most of these plants live on rainwater. The only exception are fruit trees that are irrigated by what's called gray water. That's water from the washing machine. Uh-huh. The nature nourishes part, I'm an avid gardener, and I keep the watered supply topped up. It's pretty topped up right now. I have a cistern, 1,500 gallons. I'm expecting to getting more today because of the rain. That waters my gardens. And the nature delights part with the birds. Now, that's mentioned in the book that nature in the city insists on itself. And in March of 2019, it really insisted on myself. I had solar installed on the roof in 2018, and the neighborhood mourning doves thought that was terrific. In March of 19, they started nesting on the box, which is essentially the brains of this solar array. And I went back there late in an afternoon and discovered that. And I thought, wait a minute. I'm having work done on the house. They are not going to make it there. There are workers coming back here. The birds are going to get frightened away. I'm stressed. I stressed out to a friend of mine who was from that, notable wildlife habitat called Chicago. And she said, Martha, they're wild animals. Well, they continued to nest there. This is year 6 of the birds nesting on that solar box. So they like my place. And I've decided this is a great photo opportunity. And I photograph birds a little differently. I go into the backyard and I talk to them. And if you ever meet any birds that are very well versed on Nikon camera settings, they came from my place.
All right, we'll keep that in mind. And by the way, I mentioned about your book being useful. Just a great example, I think. You have this beautiful picture of cilantro leaves, and the picture itself is worth, the book. But on the opposite page, you have a recipe for salsa. Using cilantro, and you do more with that, snow peas and figs, and you mentioned mesquite earlier, and you have a recipe for making mesquite cookies. So some really cool stuff there, and of course all those amazing photographs of plants and flowers and birds and more. Martha Retallick is the author of City Nature, Tales of Ornery Plants, Opinionated Birds, Gardening Triumphs and Tragedies, and Capturing It All Through a Lens. And I didn't ask you about the ornery plants or the opinionated birds, Martha, but I guess your readers will find them in the book there. It's an absolute delight. The name again is City Nature, Tales of Ornery Plants, Opinionated Birds, Gardening Triumphs and Tragedies, and Capturing It All Through a Lens. Martha, thanks for telling us about it, and good luck with the book.
Thank you for having me.
Martha Retallick here on Talkin' Birds. And up next here, it's our Mystery Bird contest in just 1 minute. The flutter of a tail feather, the flash of a wing bar in mid-flight. You don't always have a lot of time to identify a bird in nature, let alone to appreciate its beauty. But with Vortex Optics, you'll have the power to bring every wild moment closer. When you choose Vortex, you're choosing to have a partner in the field as passionate about nature as you are. Whether you're spotting old friends on the backyard feeder or packing for a once-in-a-lifetime trip to add a few species to your life list, Vortex offers a full range of optics and optics accessories for every birder and every budget. And whether the birds are taking you to another state or another country, you're always covered by the Vortex VIP warranty, an unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. If you'd like to learn more, or if you need help choosing your next optic, give Vortex a call at 1-800-4VORTEX or visit vortexoptics.com. There's that bird again, our mystery bird. A little louder here. Our mystery bird. It was a featured feathered friend here in our show recently. It was a small perching bird, or it is a small perching bird. It has a gray-brown back with reddish-brown streaks, a gray breast and belly. Its head has a rust-colored crown, a gray face, a rust-colored eye line, and a thick black mustache stripe. It has a long, rounded tail and brown wings, no wing bars. Our bird can be found in the area we've been focusing on today, southeast Arizona, but also across the south-central U.S. and points west from Arkansas to California. It forages on insects and seeds by hopping slowly along the ground or in low bushes. That's our mystery bird, and we have some spectacular prizes, as usually we like to think, and one is the Brome Mega 600 feeder. It's an extra-large tube affair that holds nearly 2.5 pounds of seed. It's easy to clean, chew-proof, and includes the Brome seed ventilation system to keep the seed cool and dry. And from Fresh Cut Paper, we have a certificate for 5 bouquets. Those beautiful pop-up floral bouquets that are wilt-proof and crafted to last a lifetime. And they, by the way, also have a small fraction of the carbon footprint of imported flowers. And we'd like to mention that Fresh Cut also plants a tree for every bouquet sold. And they also give a percentage of their revenue to 1% for the Planet, an environmental organization whose members contribute 1% of their annual revenue to environmental causes. Prizes, the sound of the bird, the clues, and up to you now to take care of the rest by calling us at this number, 781-837-4900. I'll give you the number in a moment, but don't hesitate because we do tend to run out of time practically every time we do the show. 781-837-4900 is the number to call. Meanwhile, Mike O'Connor has some thoughts for us. It's Let's Ask Mike, almost live from the archive in just 1 minute.
Ready to take your backyard bird watching to the next level? FeatherSnap makes Wi-Fi-enabled smart bird feeders that blend the best of technology and nature. Get a high-def glimpse of your feathered friends with a top-of-the-line camera so every visitor can be seen with clarity and detail. A unique dual feeder bin helps attract more species, and built-in solar panels keep your camera's battery going strong. FeatherSnap's mobile app creates a truly immersive experience, allowing you to collect and organize your favorite pics and videos and earn badges along the way. FeatherSnap is a convenient and fun way to capture powerful images of your local birds and help get your friends and family excited about bird watching. Best of all, FeatherSnap offers expert-trained AI identification of more than 275 North American species, thanks to their in-house ornithologist. Check them out today at feathersnapcam.com. feathersnapcam.com.
Mike O'Connor is down there, of course, at the famous Birdwatchers General Store, Orleans, Cape Cod, Massachusetts, and make sure he gets really immersed in his topic today. He is standing on one leg. Good morning, Mike.
Yeah, I do that.
I hope you haven't been standing too long. You've been waiting for a while there.
Put me on hold. That's right. Yeah, that's what we're talking about today. Birds standing on one leg, because people ask that all the time. First of all, they always think there's something wrong with the bird. You know, they think it's like, I don't know, a skateboard injury or something. They get hurt and they lost a leg. But birds stand on one leg a lot. I think the most, a lot of birds do it, but I think the one that most people think about is the flamingo. You know, you see them standing out there. They look like a cross between like a yoga instructor and the Karate Kid standing out there in the swamp. And why do they do that? Well, the first thought is to keep warm. You see ducks out on the ice or herons on the marsh like on a November day, and they've got one leg tucked up. And the legs aren't covered in feathers, so they tuck the leg under their feathers, one of them anyways, to keep warm, which makes perfect sense, except when we go back to the flamingos. Flamingos are in the tropics. They don't need to keep warm. They certainly don't need to keep warm. So why do they do it? Well, there's a couple of theories. One is because they're in water all the time, they like to just maybe dry their foot out for a while. Let it hang, let it air dry for a little bit, get it out of the water. The other reason is a lot of birds, especially birds of prey, well, all the birds, is that they actually can rest better that way. Seems not to make much sense, because if we stand on one leg like I was doing before the show, you start to tip over and it takes a lot of energy. It actually takes birds less energy to stand on one leg because, unlike us, when they stand on one leg, they can put their leg directly underneath their body, so they're perfectly balanced. And they've done some studies on weight-sensitive scales, where when the bird brings up the other foot, he's actually less tippy and more focused and more balanced when they're on one leg, which kind of doesn't make sense. But the birds actually can center their body a little bit better, and it takes less energy for them to rest in that particular spot. And you get out and see shorebirds hopping on one leg, and it's crazy, but it's not an injury, and it's not anything bad, and they're not necessarily trying to keep warm, or they could, but it's just a relaxing way to do it. So give it a shot, Ray, for the rest of the show.
All right, and I was going to say you can be seated now, but you've already chickened out there, and you're not on one leg anymore, it sounds like. All right. Talk to you next week, Mike.
Sounds great. All right.
All right. All right. I'm standing on one leg, but we only have 3 minutes to go, so I think I can do it. Meanwhile, we're back here at the Mystery Bird Contest. There's our bird, 781-837-4900 is the number to call. Let's see if Andy knows what that bird is. Good morning, Andy.
Good morning, Ray.
Good morning. You heard the clues there, maybe, and the sound of the bird and all that kind of stuff, and it leads you to which conclusion, Andy?
The rufous crowned sparrow.
That's what I have written down here on the paper.
Yay.
Yes. The rufous crowned sparrow, yes. A bird from, mostly the south, Arkansas, all the way out to California, including that southwestern, very birdy southeast Arizona area we've been talking about. Nice job on that, Andy. And meanwhile, we have a bonus question here if you'd like to give it a try.
Sure.
All right. It's a multiple choice. A recent mystery bird, the American goshawk, until recently known as the northern goshawk, is so fierce that a famous warrior wore an image of it on his helmet. Who was that famous warrior? A, Alexander the Great. B, Attila the Hun. C, Julius Caesar. Or D, Tom Brady. He was a fighting patriot and a buccaneer. So what do you think? One of those people.
Attila the Hun.
Attila the Hun. You say that with such confidence it must be right, and guess what? It is.
Yay.
Wow, you are on fire there, Andy. Stay on the line and we'll get your info and send you those nice prizes.
Thank you, Ray.
All right, Andy, correctly identifying the mystery bird, the rufous-crowned sparrow, and getting that bonus question right as well. And with that, we are pretty much out of time on our show for this morning. We're so lucky that folks ask us how they can support the show. One great way to do it is by Patreon. If you go to patreon.com/talkingbirds, you can find out all the details. Next week, we'll focus on some fascinating feathered facts from the Talking Birds Science Corner. Also, Mike O'Connor will wow us with winged wisdom in a live Let's Ask Mike segment. And we'll learn some amazing stuff about the clean transportation revolution. Thanks to our amazing Talking Birds team, Debbie Bleacher, Freya McGregor, our producing engineer, Jesse Wilkins. I'm Ray Brown. See you next week.
I like that. I love it.
Ray Brown's Talking Birds.
Made possible by the generous support of the Birdwatchers General Store, Orleans, Cape Cod. Birdwatchersgeneralstore.com.
And by Vortex Optics with the VIP warranty, their unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. Learn more at vortexoptics.com.
And by Broome, where bird feeding meets innovation. Discover truly squirrel-proof bird feeders all backed by lifetime care commitment. Learn more at brome.com.